Hi guys, today is about how to stencil, and yeah, normally I have a stencil printer at work, so I'll just have to print out the stencil and stick it onto the skin and that's it. But some designs are not the best if they are made with a stencil printer, and that's why I sometimes do stencils freehand. And yeah, today I want to show you some possibilities to do a stencil at home without a printer, and how they work, how they stick onto the skin, and yeah. Okay, so first of all, I have the Spirit freehand stencil paper, one side white, one side on a blue or dark violet, black, whatever. And just a normal piece of paper, lay it down, and then you just draw on the design you want. If you print out a design on a normal paper, you can just lay it on top of the Spirit freehand paper and then just trace it. But for now, this is enough, so there you go. There you've got your first stencil. That's a Spirit freehand. Then I've got Spirit green. That's normally for the printer, and it's not the best choice for freehand, but yeah, you can use it. But it's quite expensive. I think it's the same price than the freehand, but the freehand I feel is much better, because this really is normally for the printer. But if you have this laying around at home out of some reasons, then yeah, you can try with this one. Same, just draw the design onto the white part, not the yellow one. Use the white part. I mean, in this design, it doesn't bother really. But if you have a design where left and right is important, like for example, the word love, there you go. You've got love on the other side, and if you hold it onto the skin, you can see it will be love. If you write it down on the yellow part, and it will print through, and then you cut it out, it will be yeah, mirror wise, so not what you really want. That's why you should always draw on the white side of the stencil paper. Okay, so now we've got our little flower here. There you go. Number 2. Number 3 is a cheap Chinese stencil paper. It's a little bit dirty now because yeah, this one was laying around for a long time. You can get it from Amazon, about 50 sheets for, I don't know, 15 euros or something like that. So it's really cheap, but it's definitely not the best if you want to use it with a printer. That's why it's laying around, I guess. But it's not that bad if you want to use it freehand. I mean, this one is a little bit dirty now, so the end result will be a little bit dirty. But it's just for showing you how it works. There you go. Got your little flower. And have a look if it traced onto the flower everywhere, because yeah, it's not always that easy to get it on everywhere. Okay, so there's number 3, and as I said, that's a really cheap one. And the last option I used when I studied, and in that time I made so many henna tattoos, and I made really big ones, and not only these typical henna ones. I did tigers and whatever. So I had to use a stencil, and yeah, in that time, normally I had the design printed out, and then I've got baking paper. So that's the paper you use when you, don't know, want to bake a pizza or something like that. Just, yeah, you use it in the oven. But you can see, you can trace through, and then you just paint down the design. That's not the best trace now, I know. Okay, paint down the design. If you use this option, always think about to do the design so it's not yes, mirror wise. So if you've got the right, as I said with the laugh, for example. So if you want to have laugh and trace it, you have to do it from the other side and trace it. So it looks wrong on this one, but if you put it onto the skin, it's yeah, it's right. Okay, so that's the 4 ways. Just a normal ball pen, I think it's called, and baking paper, the Chinese one, the spirit green, and the spirit freehand. So now I've got my arm here, and as I don't want really to tattoo these designs, I just I've got Electrum stencil primer. I feel it's the best on the market, but there are loads of stencil primers you can get. You only need a small amount, so this little blob is enough for the whole arm. I don't need disinfection or anything now. It would work much better if you use disinfection, so you clean your arm, shave it, disinfection, and then put the stencil primer on, because your skin is cleaned and the fat is cleaned off. But just for now, for the case, to show how it works, I think this would be enough. Okay, so our freehand, spirit freehand paper is this little flower. And I'll put it onto this one. Okay, just press it down for a few seconds. Be careful. And there you go. That's the first one. That's why I like the spirit freehand, because it's really, really, really dark and stays onto the skin when it's dried. So normally I would leave this for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then it's really, really dry. And yeah, we can go over it and over it while tattooing, and it will stay on. So spirit freehand. Now the spirit green. Yeah, that's this one. I'll put this one here. Oops. Okay, not going to the other one. Okay, so there we've got the spirit green. Just press it on. Wait a few seconds. Pull it off. There you go. That's the spirit green. It's not as dark as the freehand one. But it works. But that's the reason I prefer the freehand. And the spirit green is more for thermal printer, because then the design is definitely darker on this side if it's done with thermal printer. But as I said, you can use it for freehand, but it's not the best choice. If you really want to do freehand, use the spirit freehand. Or, now we're with the Chinese one. Okay. So this is sadly bad quality, not because of that's Chinese, because it's it was laying around in my cupboard for some years now. Okay, press it onto the skin. And pull it off, and there you are. Even the Chinese one works really nice, and it's even darker than the spirit green. It's only a bit dirty because, yeah, the paper was a bit dirty, as I said. But thermal printer paper works totally not with a printer. It's really shit with a printer, and that's why it was laying around in my cupboard for some time now. But if you want to use it with for freehand, I would say you can get really nice results with this one. And yeah, it's much cheaper. So I would say it's my second choice. So I've got the freehand, Spirit freehand, then the cheap Chinese printer stuff. Okay, so now we've got our last option, and this is the baking paper. I hope it's called baking paper, but I guess you know what I mean. The pizza paper. And is it tacky enough? Yes. Well, use a little bit more maybe, because it's a little bit dry now. I've got flowers now everywhere. I normally use gloves while tattooing, but today I don't want to tattoo any one of these, so I'm not using disinfection. I'm not using a glove. I should have, because my fingers are blue again. Okay, so there you are. And this is with the ball pen and the baking paper. And lay it down, press it on, and wait. Da, 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 da. Oh, I don't know if I can use this music in a video. Okay, so there you go. And it works, but I feel like it's even a little bit lighter than the Spirit Green. So it's the cheapest option, but maybe not the best option. I can try if I push on a little bit harder. No, I have the feeling it's not getting better. So it's the cheapest option, definitely, but it's yeah, I would say it's option number 4 in the row, because it's not as dark as the green. And on second place is the Chinese one, and on first place for me is the Spirit freehand. So okay, let us take about 10 minutes now to leave them and to let them dry, and then we will do a wiping test to look if one of these will stay on even if you wipe hardly while tattooing, because most of the beginners don't tattoo as they should. To start from the beginning of work, they go here and there and there, and then they go over the tattoo stencil all the time, and they wipe off the stencil. So okay, give this 10 minutes and then we have a look. Okay, so 10 minutes are over now, and we will have a look how the stencils stay on. I did, I have to look for it. Okay, so I did a 5th one, just it came into my mind, with a squitzed skin marker. I've got them in loads of colours. This one is pink, so I've got blue, green, I think violet, yeah, and red, I think. But I used the pink one today. And of course, you don't have to use a stencil like this. You can just draw the design onto your skin with the skin marker, and yeah, there you go. This is with the pink one, it's a little bit lighter. Of course, you've got the green and the blue and the violet one. The violet one is the darkest, I think, but yeah, that's the way it goes. And now let us have a look if it stays onto the skin or not. So we will start with the Spirit freehand. So we can go over the skin, and it's only a little bit onto the tissue. And Spirit green, the same, only a little bit onto the tissue. But with this, the problem was it's not that dark, so I think it will fade quite quick, and the cheap one with the ball pen, and that stays really good onto the skin, even if it's not that dark, but for that what is on the skin, it really stays onto the skin, I have to admit. And then we've got the cheap Chinese one. Only a little bit goes off, but still it stays really dark. And the Squidster, yeah, just a little bit of pink onto the tissue, but it stays on. Now do the test with a wet part, because of course you don't tattoo dry. The ink is wet. Sometimes you use Vaseline or a hustle butter or something like that, and diluted water to clean. So give it a try with water, and there you go. But it stays really good on the skin. And the green, yeah, it goes off, and as I said, I think it will fade really quick. The cheap one, and it still stays on, didn't fade a bit. And the Chinese one, okay, that will take a little bit more onto the tissue, but still stays damn good on the skin. And the Squidster, okay, and the Squidster lost with the wet test. That goes off the skin really, really quick. That's the reason why I normally use the Squidster only for big freehand pieces, and I use it with 3 different colors, so work really carefully on that one. Yeah, so there you've got the result. Which one stays onto the skin. And I have to admit, I mean, my freehand, the Spirit freehand, is still my totally favorite. The Chinese one is good, it's on the 2nd place. I'm totally surprised from the cheap version, the cheap internet test version that I used with my henna tattoos before. Because that stays on quite good, even if it's not that dark, but you can see it, and it stays on. The Spirit green goes off, and I think this one will fade more and more. So while a real tattoo session, I think this one doesn't work freehand. It's only a paper you should use with a stencil printer. And yeah, the Squidster, I think I just, yeah. Okay, you can see it, it doesn't lose that much now, but it fades from all of these the quickest. Okay, so that's my test for stenciling today. If you have any other ideas, like for example, I know there's a trick with deal that you can use, or shaving gel, things like that. I would love to test it. If you want to see a video about the cheap ways with as I said, shaving gel and things like that, just post it in the comments down the video, and yeah, there will be a video about cheaper ways, even if I think this one is a quite cheap and yeah, quite good way. Okay, so that's for the stencils today, and in my next video I will show you some line work and how to improve your line work. See you next time!